me and Prod by Catchy, we've been working on some different West Coast sounds. And it's been good to just step back from doing a lot of electronic and get a chance to do some more organic melodies. So just wanted to show you a bit of how I've been making some of these. We have a bunch of different orchestra elements, and most of it's strings, but I do have some pianos and there's a flute in here as well. I'm going to show you the MIDI that I used to create the sample first. So yeah, so that's kind of the breakdown of what we have. It's just 4 different channels, right? I'll play some of them individually. This is the flute I was talking about. As you can see, BBC Symphony Orchestra. This is actually a free plugin. I would highly recommend. Pick this up for sure. The next one we're gonna have is just some strings. Violin 1. Horns, brass trumpet, right? And an interesting technique you can kind of use is you can get a bunch of MIDI, like one very large file that you like, right? So this stuff that's in the background that's not highlighted, and you can kind of build a whole orchestra with it. And if you're looking down here, let me shrink this real quick, but down here on the piano, not every note's going to be able to play, right? There's only a certain amount of, there's an octave range that each specific instrument has that matches up with how it would sound in real life. So you see, with the piccolo, we're only registering super high octaves, so realistically most of this stuff isn't playing. And this is just a quick way to kind of break down and segment out different areas within a palette for a song, for which instruments to use. And that's kind of a breakdown of the composition of things. There's those layers, and then with key zone I came back in and we just did this. And I'm running it through grow speed again, which is why it's coming in on a halftime instead of exactly when the notes play. But this is what it would sound like without. And then altogether, it just sounds like this. Right, so that's kind of just a breakdown of what my thought process is when we're making samples. So something I was talking about with Catchy was, with West Coast, a lot of the emphasis for the beats is going to be on the simplicity, letting stuff breathe, and leaving a pocket for rappers. So that was kind of a main focus that I was working on when making this sample. That does include everything that we're talking about with, sure, it sounds like a very simple lo-fi beat, but we have, a lot of density with chords and material that's going on, creating a chord stack, I guess you could say. And going over here, right, for the actual beat, right, I made a remix of sorts with this, with J. Cole, so this right here, that chord stack, that's all of the information that I was just showing you on that other it's just all of this frozen into a wave file.
I got a new number, delete that old one. By now I'm sure you must have heard about how I got jammed up and had to sit some. It's nothing, no, I did longer biz. This was a
Yeah, but that's kind of what it sounds like. I have the remix up on SoundCloud, Baton, a few other places. I'll put a link down there if you want to check it out. Um, but yeah, like honestly, most of the work came from what I did with composing, right, and planning all of this out. Then from there, like we just have the chord stack. We have one area where I reversed it. That's about it. Um, but yeah, sometimes it's good to go back to the basics, and it's good to just keep things simple. No need to overcomplicate stuff. So.